Without further hesitation, please give a warm welcome to John Mattson.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank Move and Kevin for arranging things tonight. It's always fun for me to come out and talk about the stuff that I love to do the best, which is helping people find the most meaningful things they can do in their lives and their careers, and also help jumpstart their job search strategy. So that's my goal tonight, is to help you think creatively about what you want to be doing with your career, what kinds of sideline work you might be looking for, or survival jobs if you need a survival job, and so forth. So hopefully you will leave wiser and richer and so forth. You know, one of my mentors many years ago, a fellow by the name of Tom Jackson, said to me that it's not necessarily the most talented people that will get the job. It's going to be the person who is really an expert at the job search process. So I hope that you will continue to work at that throughout your lives, whether you're auditioning for professional positions in the entertainment world, or looking for sideline work, or even survival jobs. Let me talk about what you ought to do in terms of thinking about your career. I'm going to give you an overview of the career planning process and the various stages of the job search, some resources, and then mostly I'd like to have a lot of questions either at the end, or if you've got a burning question as we're going along, please stop me and clarify things, because if you've got a question on one of my slides here, probably 10 other people at least have a question on the slide. So please stop me when you have a moment. Talk about the stages of career planning and the job search. One of the key things that you have to do, whether you're looking for, again, sideline work, survival work, or parallel work, is really to assess your career interests and target different career tracks. Assess the job market in those occupations. That's very important. Target specific companies and organizations. Research the targeted companies further so that you know what you're talking about when you're approaching these companies. And you've got to fine-tune your resume, both the job function and to the industry. You also have to explore your social and professional networks. It's one of the most critical things that you can do, is to really continue to build and expand your social network and professional network. Apply for jobs online and hard copy. This is probably the biggest mistake everybody's doing today, is they're simply applying online. Hit the button and the resume goes and the application is sent to the company. You've also got to think about who in the organization has an interest in seeing your resume, and get your resume and cover letter to that person. That's probably the #1 mistake most people are doing today, and they're waiting for the phone to ring or the email to come back saying, we'd love to call you in for an interview. If you're not talking to the person who's going to have the power and authority to hire you, you're talking to the wrong people. So you've got to target that. And I have done that myself consistently, and typically it's that person who calls me up. It's not the human resources office that gets in touch with me, it's that line manager. So very, very important. And then you have to go on interviews, and then finally getting job offers and negotiating salaries. It's crucial to know how to negotiate salaries. So those are the topics that we're going to cover tonight. Let me talk a little bit about this acronym that I've come up with called CIVIL. CIVIL stands for competencies, interests, values, income, and lifestyle preferences. I think these are sort of the key building blocks to thinking about your career and what you want to be doing. So if you can identify what your top competencies or skills are, that's half the battle. What are your top 10 skills in life? Because after all, that's what you have to offer the world. It's your skills are going to be the value that you create. So you've got to think about what are your particular skills in life. Interests. Interests typically lead you to industries. Your interest in the entertainment industry led you to the entertainment industry. You probably have other interests that you can explore to find out what other industries out there might also float your boat in life, so that you can look at sideline work and survival jobs in industries that you really care about. I see a lot of people who come and chat with me, and they're in pretty difficult survival jobs. And I'm thinking, why are you in the difficult survival job? Why aren't you in the better pond fishing for the survival jobs as opposed to the bad pond? That type of thing. So there are really better ponds to fish out of for certain jobs, and we'll talk about those throughout the night. Also, your values. What's important to you? This really is important, I think, as you go through life and you start noticing how your values change. You want to be in sync with the organization that you're working for, and the job you took at 20 probably not ought to be the job you're doing at 30. So as you change, so should the things that you're thinking about in terms of work. Income needs. Basically it's very simple. I tell people to think about having 3 different budgets that you can manage. Have a basic bare bones budget. What does it take to just survive? And that might be $25,000 a year, which I think is an industry average at times. And then there is sort of the medium budget, which is, let's say, $50,000 a year, and then, gosh, a really great budget for you if you were making over $100,000, boy, that would be wonderful. And have those 3 budgets in mind so that you can anticipate the kinds of work you need to go out and get to meet those budget needs, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. And then finally, lifestyle preferences. Do you have to stay just here in Los Angeles, or can you move down to Long Beach? So lifestyle preferences comes up a lot in the career choices that you make. If you want to be near the ocean, or if you want to be near the mountains to go skiing and stuff like that. So these are important lifestyle considerations, and the work that you do in life suddenly gives you a lifestyle. You get a job, and then you wake up, and then a week later you sort of say, oh gosh, I didn't know I have to work until midnight every night doing this stuff. So the work that you choose suddenly gives you a lifestyle. So choose wisely so that you're getting the lifestyle that you want to have. Let's talk about different work options. Let me define what I talk about when I say survival jobs. This is, I'm sure a lot of you know what survival jobs are, so I don't have to tell you, but looking for a job to stay alive. It's just simply to pay the bills, keep the bill collector away, the wolf away from the door. The key criteria are availability of work and the potential to generate immediate cash. And the focus is on the immediate present. Sideline jobs. This work offers predictable, ideally stable employment and also allows time to pursue one's main occupational focus. Reliability of work, scheduling, flexibility, and income potential are key here. Again, the individual needs to determine the nature of this work. It really depends upon one's civil. Parallel career tracks. This requires managing 2 or 3 distinct occupational tracks simultaneously. It's good for those individuals who are drawn by differing interests and skills and feel comfortable and capable of managing several tracks, allowing for diversity, differing sources of satisfaction, income, and energy. One of the key things to do before you start a job search is really to evaluate yourself. What kind of work do you want to be doing? Most jobs consist of performing several job functions on a daily basis, which utilizes your skills over and over again. So there's a lot of repetition in jobs, if you've ever noticed. Also, in what industry do you want to work? Typically, your interests, again, will lead you to various industries. And again, what kind of company, mission, size, culture? And when I use company, I mean organization, nonprofit, and so forth. So I'm not just talking about the private sector here. And government as well, or international government stuff. What's a good fit for your personality, values, and your income needs, and where is it located? The larger your geographic distribution in terms of your location, the more opportunities. Whereas if you say, I'm only going to work between, Wilshire and Melrose, the opportunities get much more limited. So I encourage you to, think about expanding your circle. My thought is, about developing 3 career tracks to keep your job search focused, but also gives you a little bit of flexibility. And it allows you to think strategically about your career, developing a short-range, mid-range, and long-range career goals. And decide what percentage of your time will be spent working in these different tracks. And again, all tracks are flexible depending upon your needs. One of the things that I noticed, especially in my private practice back in the Boston area, which I did for about 5 years, people would come to me because their track A ran out of gas. Their job ended, they quit, they got fired, the job moved to Texas, you name it. And it was sort of like, I don't have any other thoughts about what I should do next. What's plan B? What's plan C? So, I really noticed this. I sort of said, gosh, we've got to set up a better system. I think that's the old paradigm of, you stay in one track and that's it. And you've got to have a track that looks something like this, I think, which is the career matrix, which I've put together. And again, you've got a primary, a sideline, and a survival track here. And for somebody who's an actor, level 1 here, stage 1, you might find yourself working and making 10% of your annual income at level 1, and level 2 you go up to 20% and so forth. And everybody that I've met so far who's in the acting business wants to make 100% of their income, of course, from the entertainment business. So that's a very clear track. However, the next track over could be a sideline track that you might develop, especially if you have a bachelor's degree or maybe even a master's degree to teach at a community college. And so you could work at an independent school or a community college, or maybe even teach in the evenings as an instructor at some kind of extension program. It doesn't have to be at a university. It could be at a local high school even. So that's an option there. And then the survival track is, gee, what kind of job can I get at any of these levels that is going to help me get food on the table tomorrow, kind of thing. And again, I've put some things here, such as auto dealerships, working at auto dealerships, particularly in sales. The retail sales at a major department store, if you're working at a place like a Neiman Marcus on a part-time basis, that can be very, very helpful. Salesperson for an art gallery, or if you happen to be a talented pianist, maybe you're doing some weekend cruises to supplement your income. So that's my take on really being prepared for whatever comes your way. As you know, it's tough times out there, and in January the unemployment rate in Los Angeles reached 13%, the highest ever it's been. Luckily, it's gone down a bit, but as you know, with the stock market woes that we're currently faced this week and last week and so on, there's a lot of concern about the employment figures out there and what jobs are going to be like. Again, don't get overwhelmed by the unemployment rate, because all you're looking for is 1 or 2 jobs. The job search is an individual process, so don't hang your head down and say, oh my God, the unemployment rate is 13%. All you need to be doing is being good at getting 1 or 2 jobs. Ways to manage your career tracks. How do you manage these 3 tracks or 2 tracks, whatever your choice might be? You can either work in it full-time or maybe even do a job share with a colleague, with 50% of you splitting the position. I did that at one point in time. I hung out my shingle saying career counselor, and I was waiting for everybody to rush in and call and make appointments, and nobody was calling or rushing in. I said, uh-oh, I better think about what do I do for my survival job. And so I created a job share position with a colleague. I found a colleague who had the same skill sets as mine. We approached a university and said, hey, you've got a great career counseling job available there, but we would like to job share. I'd like to do half of it, and my colleague would like to do half of it. And they thought that was a great idea. 2 heads are better than 1. A lot more energy and a lot more work out of us, so they hired us, and we did that for 2 years. So it's really possible to, even look at a full-time position and then negotiate those kinds of things. So get creative. Think out of the box when you're looking for, sideline or survival jobs. Work part-time. That's another way to manage one of these tracks. And often you're probably, if you're only working part-time to supplement your entertainment track, you may have two part-time jobs, maybe 10 hours each, something like that. Or work on a consulting basis. If you have a certain skill set that's in demand and you can go off and do a seminar or something like that because you're good at public speaking, you might be able to go off and do a couple of seminars and get paid $1,000 a day for doing those kinds of things. So you can do that. Volunteer on a part-time basis. I mean, that's a great way to make connections and also contribute in some way to something that you care about. So pick organizations, go and volunteer, do some part-time volunteer work. Again, obtain further education and training in those areas. And for people who are interested in knowing about the various training programs that are available through the LA Department of LA Unified School District, I've got a list here with the names of some of the programs. So if you want to get up to speed on computer training or medical assisting or office work or things like that, I think they offer some good programs along with a lot of the community colleges and certainly along with a lot of the state colleges. There's one college here which is a private college, which will take any of your credits from your past, if you haven't gotten a degree, and collect them and put them all together, no matter how long ago they were and no matter in what subject. So that's Antioch College in West LA that will do that. So if you have enough funding to go look for a private education, that's another resource which can be very valuable. Pursue a hobby, leisure activity. A lot of entrepreneurs have turned their hobbies into actually full-fledged businesses. So that's something to think about. If you can't find a job, create a job for yourself. When I was doing my private practice initially, I had to go off and do that part-time job share, but I also had to do other things. So I was consulting, I was teaching. I looked at my plate one day and I said, I have 9 different jobs here that I'm managing. I felt like the Ed Sullivan Show guy years ago who used to spin the plates and try to keep them going. But it worked. It worked for a couple of years, which was great, and it got my private practice off the ground. So think of things that you really find interesting to turn into money-making opportunities. Let me talk a little bit about the economic model of work, because sometimes it's a mystery as to why people bother to pay you in life. So, I want to clear that up and give you the confidence to think that you deserve that money that they're paying you. So, money. Money is always chasing around one thing in life, and that one thing is value. So the big question for you in life is, what kind of value do you most enjoy creating? And again, it could be in any of those tracks, part-time, full-time, you name it, the combination's up to you. But there you are working at your job and creating value. You have to understand who wants your value. So what is that marketplace for your value? And then you have to sort of figure out, well, how do I market my particular brand in one of my career tracks to that marketplace so that they will be suitably impressed with me so that they will bother to pay me for the value I'm creating. So there's a back and forth between the marketing and the marketplace that will give you feedback as to how successful you are or not. And then, again, this job that you do in life, or many jobs that you do, you're there creating value, and hopefully that's based upon some occupation that you're pleased with or hopefully pleased with in the future. And then the civil supports the competencies, skills, interests, values, income. That stuff all goes into the occupation. Anybody have a clue as to what's below this line? What's below? What leads you to your civil? What are some of the things that lead you to your civil? Any ideas? Personality, yeah. Yeah, great. What other things? Yes. Yeah, family influence is critical. What else? Yes. Yeah, age. Yeah, absolutely. One of my first clients in my second private practice that I did was a ballerina. And she came to see me because she was injured. And off she went into entertainment law as a result of doing the career counseling with me. So, yeah, so things of that nature, age, disabilities, special skill sets that you might have. Now, if this is a well-oiled machine, the money should theoretically come in, and there's not a shortage of money in the world. There's an abundance of money. Think of all the money that's just sitting here in Los Angeles in the banks, stock brokerage accounts, people's pocketbooks, your bank accounts. I mean, there's tons of money here. The question is, how is it distributed to you? So this is the distribution equation. Now, this looks very nice until you think about the delta force that controls this. And some of this is in your control and some of it is not in your control. So if you want more money in life, spend more time working. If you hold down 3 jobs as opposed to 1 job, you will make more money in life. The other option, which I would recommend, is become an expert at what you do so that you become highly paid and sought after for what it is that you create in terms of your value. So that is, I think, the better way to do it. Otherwise, you spend a lot of time in life working many hours to try to make the money. So become really, really good at what you do. And finally, luck. After doing career counseling with people for about 30 years now, I have listened to a lot of people's stories. And there's two kinds of luck that I see people subjected to in life or finding in life. One is accidental luck, which is, you find the lottery ticket on the street and you scratch it and it's a winner that somebody lost. Well, that's a good form of accidental luck. Or getting hit on the freeway by somebody. That's, accidental bad luck. So those are the two kinds of luck that's available for, sort of what I call passive luck. The other is active luck, which is putting yourself in the right place at the right time, with the right people, with the right resources, with some kind of intelligence, street smarts, or information that'll be valuable to somebody, and then some kind of a strategy, and finally, some kind of an action step. Otherwise, if you don't take that action step, you see that lucky opportunity that you just noticed pass you right by. Has anybody had that experience? I've had it several times. Saying, why didn't I say something, So you've got to really sort of think about where you're putting yourself in this life and who you're hanging out with as well. That will impact a lot of things.